The 9 Years Podcast.
All right, everybody. You're listening to the 9 Years Podcast, the weekly audio fanzine dedicated to AFC Wimbledon that drops every Thursday on iTunes and YouTube. Today is September the 3rd. My name is Nick Draper, joined once again by Stuart Deakins. Hello, Stu.
Hi, Nick.
And today we're also delighted to welcome back Paul Raymond to the show. Paul, how are things going?
Pretty good, Nick. Evening, Stu.
Evening, Paul. Thanks for seeing you here.
This is like when they say goodnight in the Waltons or whatever that drama was. Good night, Stu. Good night, Nick. Good night, Paul. Good night, Nick. Anyway, right. Today we've got Paul along. We're just going to have a chat about how things are going at the club, on and off the pitch, and just mull over a few topics that we know are being spoken about around Kings Meadow at the moment. We've called it our progress review, and we'll aim to do this every 6 weeks or so, just to keep things current and give our thoughts on the big issues in SW19, and I make a point of saying SW19, as we will soon come on to. But for today, what I've done is note 3 discussion points. We'll talk through them all. And they are the Back in 2 Ticks campaign that was launched on Saturday, the competition for places in the first team, and ridiculous goal celebrations. And I think we'll probably start with the middle of those 3. But that's after we quickly run through the Exeter and Plymouth games from last week. And we'll start with Exeter. Stu, last week on this very podcast, you did indeed correctly predict that we will beat Exeter by 2-1. So well done, you.
Thank you very much.
How patronising did that sound? Yeah, I'm a teacher. Now, what was the key in our victory for you? What was the key? Where did we win the game?
Yeah, key to victory. I think we probably look on Saturday. Key was probably the substitutions. I think Neil got the substitutions spot on. We sort of really had a bit of a go at Exeter, didn't we? We didn't go full out. We didn't exactly go like we did for the Plymouth game, where we literally tried to bombard them and try and beat them into submission. We were a bit cleverer this time. We knew Exeter probably might tire due to their long trip up Sunderland, and the subs were key. Bringing on Aziz and bringing on Niall Taylor, and then later on Sean Rigg gave us the legs, and I think that was the key to the victory on Saturday.
Now we were watching from the main stand last Saturday for a change.
We were
a couple of rows behind Gary Elkins, who I'll come back to, who was a visitor today. Paul, whereabouts were you watching from on Saturday for the Exeter game?
I watched the first half from Volunteers Corner, which is just along from the end of the Kenflow stand. And then the second half, I actually sat down in the main stand as well. Okay,
so you had the same sort of view, I imagine, as we did of the winning goal. Last week we spoke about Lyle Taylor and doing a lot of his work outside the box as opposed to in the box, but it certainly paid off on Saturday. And have you ever seen a cross as good as that?
No, the cross was brilliant. It was one of those ones where, as a forward, they always say, you just basically say, thank you very much. You nod your head and the ball goes in. And that's all that Aziz had to do. The cross. But to be fair, he done a cross earlier on, didn't he? He done one probably about 5 minutes earlier, didn't he? And the whip and the pace he gets on them crosses, he took the keeper out. It was, to be fair, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's easy for Aziz because you still got to finish them, but the cross, in my opinion, made the goal.
Yeah, definitely made the difference. We had it was probably the best cross we put in. Well, obviously it was the best cross we put in all game. We had a few set pieces, a lot of corners, and a lot of free kicks in and around the box, especially in that second half. Do you think we suffered a bit from not having? Have we not got anyone else on the pitch that could have just swapped about with Frankham? Because Frankham can put a good ball in, and more often than not, he did put a good ball in. To be fair, we didn't make anything of it. But is there no one else that we can just mix it up a little bit with?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think I looked on the stats because as I'm quite sad. we were talking about how we must be in double figures, and we were well into that. I think I looked into it. I think about 16 corners.
That's what I saw,
16 corners, and the thing is, we did vary it up in one occasion, didn't we? Where we tried to knock it in along the floor, and then they got countered and scored against by Exeter. But you wonder. I know nobody likes a short corner, but just vary the angle, or it became very much a samey, didn't it? It was either going to be cleared by the defender or keeper coming and collected, and we didn't really get any end product, and that's disappointing for, like I say, 16 corners at home.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke to some of the management team on the train back from Carlisle. Not that you were name dropping last week. Do you think Simon Batty might be in charge of corners after all?
I don't know. I always think the best. To be fair, I've been down the training ground a few times, and the best set piece taker we've got is Neil Hardy still.
Yeah, well,
I sometimes I remember saying to him one time, it'd be nice if we could do like the old American football and just bring on your set piece specialist, isn't it?
Yeah, like we used to say with Beckham in the England team at the turn of the century, just bring him on for the corners and the free kicks, and we'd be laughing.
20 years later, he's still got his walking stick. We're still probably got the best set piece, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's picking it up. To be fair, enough. I'd have thought Neil Hardy's got a good say in it. It's all about movement. We've got enough 6-foot+ players in that team now to surely pick up somebody. But we just at the moment, I think the good thing is we're getting the set pieces. So obviously we're attacking. We're getting into the final third enough to get the corners, but we're just not. It will come. It will come. I think.
I hope so. Cool. Now, as for Plymouth in the week, it was the LDV Vans Trophy. So we won't go into too much at this stage. We won't go into anything really at this stage except to mention the score, which was, of course...
Wimbledon 2, Plymouth 3.
And Stu, who was your star over the 2 games?
Yeah, so I've sort of gone for Andy Bartry, who's been outstanding, and to be fair, he's set a standard now that I just become like, yeah, that's what you'd always do every week. I think my one is Adi Aziz, 2 goals from 21s in a week, against a strong Cambridge team by all accounts. They've obviously got a strong squad there, and then obviously comes on and then gets the win against Exeter. So my one for A+ this week is Adi Aziz.
I like the way you've gone A+ for Adi Aziz, you see, for old double A Ado Bayo Aziz. That's quite clever.
It's clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you do have these moments sometimes. One player who's not having the best time of it right now.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm probably going to go against what I said of Andy Bartram. Is I still think Bayo's not having the best of it. There's something missing with Bayo this season, and I'm trying not to get into a stage where I'm picking on him, because I think sometimes you can get in a habit. You sometimes can get in a habit of just always seeing negatives, and I think that's similar to Adi Aziz, where a lot of people I know have got used to the habit of the negatives that he always does. But Bayo's just not aggressive for me. He's not the hungry Bayo. I mean that in a joking way. He's not the hungry Bayo that I saw last season. And it's just, I don't know, there's something missing from his game. He just not the Bayo that I saw last year, and I think we're not seeing the best of him. I don't know, am I alone in that, Nick? What are you thinking?
For me, he's not quite the same as last year. He's not quite up to that level yet. It's still early days, though, and I think, to be fair, he had a misplaced pass or two on Saturday. I didn't think he did too bad on the whole, if I'm being honest. But he is definitely not at that level that we come to expect from him. And I'd agree with you on that point. But it does actually move us nicely on, Stu, that you've mentioned Bayo. Because that's one of the conversations I wanted to put as our progress review for today, was talking about the strikers. Because, well, let's get into it. We're talking about our season so far. And I think for the first time in many a season, we've got a squad that's competition for places in every position. Every single position, there's someone fighting for their place. But the strikers are the most interesting, I think, for people at the moment, especially after on Saturday, when the front two of Tom Elliott and Bayo were taken off and replaced by Lyle, Taylor and Aziz, who one sets up the goal, the other one puts it in the back of the net. So let's talk about the front line. If Bayo's off form, as you're saying he is, and Aziz is having a good week, Taylor and Elliott have been brought into the squad and have looked good when they've come in all right without the goals return. Elliott's got one, Lala's not yet to score. But do we realistically now have a choice of 4 players that we'd be happy to see start any game? Do you know what I mean? We could turn up on a Saturday and see any of those names on the team sheet and we'd be fine. That's good.
Yeah, so last year, obviously with Tubbsy and that, I think this year we've got a good selection of forwards. My argument I was saying to you was on Saturday that I feel that we've got two, I don't think Bayo and Tom Elliott, in my opinion, can play together. I think they're too similar. I think they're both wanting to be playing. They both want to be a target man. They both tend to do the same runs. They both tend to be too far apart from each other. So I would say your likely thing is that you'd have Bayo and Adi Aziz, for argument's sake, and Elliott and Lyle Taylor, and you could mix around Taylor and Aziz. But I'm more happy with what we've got. But I'm not too sure whether two of them, like say Bayo and Elliott, can play together too much.
Yeah, I mean, my concern actually, which was proved to be incorrect, was that Aziz and Taylor might not be able to link up. Now, they linked up fantastically for the goal. Do you reckon they could do it for 90 minutes?
It'd be interesting to see. I think they probably can. I think they're a lively pair. I think we will have a lot of pace in that team with them two up front. So I think it could work well. In terms of the subs, whether Lyle wants to be a sub this year, I doubt it. I don't think he'd come down from Scunthorpe to be a sub. So I think Neil's player management with Lyle will be interesting, because I've just sensed Lyle is not going to be one that's going to be happy to come off the bench. But then he's got to prove his worth and score goals, and that's where he's not got the score sheet yet, has he?
No, not yet. On that note, Paul, if I could be so bold, if you were picking the team for Mansfield on Saturday and we're going to go two up front, which two would you personally choose?
I'd probably go with Bayo and Taylor.
Bayo and Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I'd start. But I thought on Saturday, when we did, the double switch, I thought that was really quite brave. So just being able to replace two strikers in one go and then going, let's see how the others do, gives us real extra strength in depth. Yeah,
definitely, absolutely. And I think, as we're saying, that is the difference, I suppose. We haven't had that opportunity in the past to actually take our front two off and replace them like for like, and just give the opposition a different threat, even though it's the same formation and arguably you can say the same tactics. It's just different players you're having to contend with. It's interesting. I hesitated for a minute when you said Bayo and Taylor, because I'm still foolishly in my head confusing Tom Elliott and Lyle Taylor. Not that I don't know which one's which, but when you say Elliott and Taylor, I had to take a minute to go, which one's which again? Yeah. So I'm still getting my head around that one. But believe me, when they're on the pitch, they're quite different types of players. I am fully aware which one's which.
You can't get them confused, let's be fair. Tom Elliott is a lanky 6'4", isn't it? He's like a rake. There's no
Stu, be careful, because that will come back to haunt you.
This could. Yeah, I think we've already had, because I'm not the one that's actually got players confused once they're on the pitch this season, which I think Stu might have had the problem at Cardiff.
It was a lighting, to be fair. The lighting was really bad up at Cardiff.
Not with that green kit, Stu. It's luminous.
Let's not get onto the green kit.
No, let's leave that. Well, technically, this is our progress review, so we can just quickly chuck that one in there. Very quickly, Paul, thumbs up, thumbs down, green kit, thumbs in the middle.
The green kit looks a lot better on the players in games.
Yeah,
it's not really an item of casual wear that I would wear.
No, I think I'd agree with you on that one. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. I'm not going to be wandering down the streets of Berrylands with that one on, but it does. When the players are in the full kit, it actually does come together. Not so bad. Very quickly, then, we're talking about competition for places and stuff like that. I said there's competition all over the pitch. I think that's one of the most important things we're going to have in our favour this season. Not only are we talking about the front two, the midfield now with Tom Beer coming in against Exeter. I didn't think he had his best game. I think, to be fair, a lot of the game passed the midfield two by actually on Saturday.
Yeah.
But again, it's another position where we've got four players. We're all happy to see any of the four come in. Who have we got right back as competition for Barry? Is that the only place we could maybe argue, or could Meadsy stick in there? What do you reckon?
Yeah, Meadsy's been playing there as well, hasn't he?
He can play.
He can play all along the sort of left, right, or in midfield. So, yeah.
So we're looking strong. The only thing we're not looking strong at so far, in my opinion, this season, apart from we've talked about set pieces and maybe not converting our chances into goals as much as we could do. But the other thing is this celebration we've stumbled upon. Is this something to do with the cricket? Do either of you know? I don't watch cricket. I have no idea. What is it? It's like George Franklin's running away doing some sort of horse riding thing. I don't get it. Can either of you shed any light on this one?
Do they celebrate in cricket, though? I thought they just sort of clapped and sort of like said, well done, and got on with it, didn't they?
I think they sort of go, well played, clap, and then they just have a nap because they're all old and stuff.
And then they break for tea and have some cake.
Yeah, they have some scones and stuff.
Yeah.
I obviously, when I was at school, I obviously got the wrong sport, didn't I? Do you know what I mean? I should have gone to cricket. rather than get oranges at half time, in cricket you get tea and cake.
Yeah, this is true. Considering your age, Stu, as well, I'm surprised, that you're not more into cricket. But anyway,
no. In all seriousness, the celebration, I just think it's a really good thing. I know we laugh at the celebrations, but I was thinking about when as we were sort of like, I was doing some sort of not research because I know what celebrations are, but at the moment my funniest celebration is Gomez at Swansea, who does a panther.
Well, this is another reason I wanted to bring this one up, because, say what you're going to say about Gomez first, and then I'll...
Because I just think it's an entertainment business. Let's be fair. Do you know what I mean? We've got a lot of kids that go into football. The kids love the mascot, the Hayden and Womble. And I think any celebration, and the way it is, obviously Barrow's not scoring, so Barrow's celebration can't be seen. So let's get another celebration going.
And this is what they've fallen on, or George Frankham has at least stumbled upon. Am I going mad? Is this something to do with cricket or not, or is this just some random thing they've enjoyed?
I don't think it is.
You don't think it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe one.
I don't know what it is. I'm totally confused by it, but if we see it lots of times, that's good by me, because it means we're scoring goals.
Well, this is true.
I think it was on the Dons player. Callum Kennedy said he was the one that come across it. I can't remember, and for those of you obviously go on Dons player, go back and have a look. It's a good Dons player. It's got some good stuff this year. But I think Callum Kennedy was the one that mentioned it. I think it's something to do with his girlfriend or something about some sort of celebration. And he brought it into training, and then they decided to do it. But to be fair, George does seem to be the most excited by it, doesn't he? He seems to want to do a celebration all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing it when, they came onto the pitch and stuff, or, I saw him he won a fiver on a scratch card the other day, and he started doing it down the road. I mean, I don't know what's going on. But,
Stop picking on George.
But in terms of celebrations, obviously the Gomez one, which is the Swansea player that I put in my fantasy team before the season kicked off, went, why on earth have I put Gomez in my fantasy team, and took him straight out? That was a good decision. That celebration, I tell you what, I can't stand it. And that's what made me, combined with our weird little whatever we're doing, just thought, was there any other celebrations down the years from Wimbledon you can remember that particularly stand out, that you liked, disliked? I'm guessing one of the famous ones was the Dam Busters against Liverpool in the League Cup about 20 years ago now.
Yeah, the Dam Busters was funny, wasn't it? Was that after... Did we beat Liverpool in a cup game, if I remember properly, on penalties?
Yeah.
I think we did it, didn't we? We were sort of covered on the ITV evening game. But celebrations down the years... Yeah, I used to like Fash. I used to like when Fash scored, when everyone used to just put his arms up in the air and everyone just hung off him like he was some sort of tree. Do you remember? No, he used to put his hands up, didn't he? And Dino used to do the salute, or he'd put a headband across his head. Anyone's I sort of remember, but I don't think you had the trademark celebrations as you have now, do you? Back in the days,
not back in the days. We had a couple in the CCL. We had the oops upside your head, I think, for a little while.
To be honest, a lot of the time I'm still celebrating the goal, so I don't actually see it, going on myself.
Yeah, this is actually true. It's more for when you watch it back on TV and you say, okay.
Oh yeah, that doesn't look too good.
Yeah, what are they doing? Right, on to more serious matters then. The final point of our progress review so far. Saturday, the Exeter game featured the launch of the Back in 2 Ticks campaign, which is promoting the importance of Dons Trust members registering their vote twice to ensure that the club can sell Kings Meadow to raise the necessary funds to make our new stadium back in Merton become a reality. I have to be honest at this stage and say I'm not sure about the 2 votes. Paul, you might be able to shed some light on this for me. Are the 2 votes both related to the sale of Kings Meadow, or is one about saying, yes, we will sell the ground, and the other one about moving? How does it work with the 2 votes?
Right, okay, there's been a couple of really good articles. There was Eric's bit in the programme yesterday, which I believe has been posted online.
Yesterday?
Also, yes. Sorry, on Saturday. I
Right.
forgot. Not in the programme for the Simod Cup game. And basically what it is about 10 years ago, there was an offer made for the club, and it was felt that the constitution wasn't tight enough to secure, sort of certain what are called restricted actions taking place. That includes selling the ground, changing the name, and unfortunately, the situation we're now in that it's actually in effect working against us, because quite obviously we want to move back to SW19, the Wimbledon Stadium, and what we actually need to do is we obviously need to raise money. One of the highest restricted actions is actually a selling of the ground.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason we have to have 2 votes, my understanding from what I've read and through speaking to various people, and it's if you're a Don's Trust member, well, 2 things. If you're not a Don's Trust member, please join before the 30th of September. And then once you are a Don's Trust member, you'll have to vote twice in a space of, I think it's about a month, in 2 separate questions. The questions are going to be exactly the same, so it's going to look like, hold on, I've already answered that, but they're not. It's 2 very clear different votes, and the question is, are you happy for the Don's Trust to sell sell Kings Meadow to a nominated party?
Okay.
And I believe, the question most probably will be a little bit more than that, but that's basically it. And we need I think it's over 50% of members to vote in both votes. And we also need a substantial majority to vote yes. So it's a really important vote. And my understanding, there's going to be a couple of meetings as well. The good things on Saturday and on Tuesday night was, of course, that there was the Back in 2 Ticks volunteers going round in the white T-shirts. And if people have got questions, please speak to these volunteers that would be able to, if they can't answer your questions on the spot, they'll be able to take them away. But don't be, sort of sitting there in 2 months' time, sort of going, "Oh, I didn't vote because I knew everyone else would vote." We need everybody. It's going to sound really bizarre, but we almost need a sort of North Korea style election where the turnout is a 99.99%.
Yeah.
Because it's such an important decision.
Now, so if I've got this right, by the end of these 2 votes, we should be clear to set up the ground, set up Kings Meadow, and then start moving over to the new stadium. That's right. We don't have to jump.
Once we have the planning permission.
Once we have the planning permission, yeah.
Yeah, which is still going through at the moment. I think a consultation with Merton Council is about to reopen.
Okay.
But obviously, if they were to turn around and say, yes, you can, you've got that planning permission and there's no appeals or anything, we want to get into the site as soon as we can. And what's the first thing builders going to say to you? It's like, where's the money? And so if we can't sell Kings Meadow, could we still move? Possibly, but it's about finding the substantial money that we're going to need for the new ground.
Yeah, it's because it is going to cost us quite a pretty penny. Yes, you mentioned there the 2 meetings. I've got the leaflet that I was handed at the Exeter game here. It says meetings on the 22nd of September at Kings Meadow, or at the Cherry Red Record Stadium, to give it its proper title. And then again on 2 days later, on the 24th of September, at a venue in Wimbledon where you can discuss the proposals. Now, we're all on board, aren't we? We're all of the opinion, let's set up Kings Meadow and let's get back to Wimbledon. There's some discussions with some people, and I'm assuming it is a very small minority at this moment in time, that actually some people aren't sure about this. Some people have concerns that they don't want to sell Kings Meadow because they're worried about the effects on Kingstonian or what have you. Let's take that one for a starter. Do you think that's a genuine concern that we should be worrying about Kingstonian, or do you think we're doing the best for them given our circumstances and given theirs? They have come out and said that Kings Meadow is not really viable for them in the future as a stadium anyway. Do people have legitimate concerns about the fate of our tenants, I suppose?
It's a really difficult one because when we first moved into Kings Meadow, in my eyes, did Kings Meadow and the Coslers do us a favour? Yes, they did for that first couple of years. Then when we took the decision we need to actually buy the site, we're not talking like 6 months down the line that we've all of a sudden said, right, we need to move back to Wimbledon. We would have liked to have moved back after 6 months, but it's been, 12, 13 years since we've bought the ground.
Yeah.
And I think this might sound really harsh, but are the Kingstonian fans sort of, have they not been aware that this could have come up at any time? They know we've wanted to move back to Wimbledon and Merton area. So, they can't just sort of say, well, if you go, and we spent a lot of money on the ground originally.
Yeah.
And it's really harsh. I don't think we're selling them down the river as a lot of people think we are.
No.
Or could do. But we've got to be realistic as well. People in sport talk about having white elephants and things like that. And unless, well, Stu, you won the lottery at the weekend, didn't you? So I presume you'll just be putting all the money into it. So we'll be all right. Then Kingstonians can keep Kingsmeadow and everyone's hunky-dory.
As a Newport, a current Newport owner, is it? Who put all the money in?
Runner in it.
There's no future in putting your own money into the club. No one makes money at that level, do you know what I mean? Do you know what? I think, in all fairness, Paul, I think you're right. I think with this, I think the meetings that are going to be done are the right things to be done, because there are going to be fans that naturally going to go, hey, look, we're a fan-zone club, we had nowhere to go 12, 13 years ago, let's not do the same as Kingstonians. I get that, and I think the meetings will be important to probably highlight what we're going to do. I'm with you, Paul. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes, I'll be truthfully honest, I think sometimes we try and think about everyone else rather than think about actually what we need to do. We need to sell the ground. We need to get some decent income from it. Kingstonians, we do a lot for Kingstonians. From my understanding, we give them a ground free of charge. We don't charge any rent. So, in my opinion, we give them a pretty good deal. I know they don't like the fact that we built the John Green stand, or what's it called now, and took their Kingston Road end away. But if you look about what we offer them at the moment, it's a pretty good deal. I think anything that we do, and I think there was rumours around, wasn't there, that we were going to be selling it possibly for another 21 venue for a club close to us. I think whatever we do, I don't think
close to us
geographically try and nickel out but now just nick fans from Korea and Japan, do you know what I mean? But I don't think we're going to send them down the river as such of we're going to give them nowhere to play. But I think you're right, Paul. I think their future is away from Kingsmeadow.
I think the thing that everyone seems to be sort of almost forgetting is that we were put in this situation of really tightening up our constitution to try and protect ourselves. And, rules are rules, and we've heard that one before and things like that. But if only someone had put something like, as long as we're selling the ground for a return to Merton, we wouldn't have been in this situation. So it's frustrating in a way that we've got to have these two votes, but I think it's very important, and it gets club engagement, Don's Trust engagement with supporters, so we can discuss our concerns.
So I should point out at this juncture that we are hoping to get a member or a couple of members on the board to come onto the show and discuss this in a couple of weeks' time, to discuss this issue. I also think it's important to note that, going back to the discussion about Kingsmeadow and Kingstonian, I totally agree with Paul and Stu, and that's not to speak ill of Kingstonian at all. Kingstonian have actually been my local club all my life, really. So I have actually got a lot of time for the football club. I know as well that they've come out, and there is a statement you can find on the Kingstonian website saying that in their future, realistically, Kingsmeadow is not the stadium for them, because they don't have the means to keep up with it. And if the Milton Keynes move had never happened, we'd have never come to be playing our games at Kingsmeadow in the first place. Who knows if Kingstonian would be there now? They could have moved a long time before, and their situation could be totally different. We don't know. But the great thing is, as Stu says, we've got these two meetings. So if you do have concerns such as these, you can put them to board members. The other point on this I want to say is also say, if people genuinely feel like they don't want to sell Kingsmeadow for whatever reason, then that's a democratic process. You have a right to vote against that. From my perspective, I'm thinking what's best for us, like we've been saying, and I'm thinking we need the money to finance a stadium back to Wimbledon. It's one of the stated aims of this football club to be playing back in, well, we thought Merton. Okay, we said Merton, our London borough. To actually get back into Wimbledon is something I didn't think was ever going to happen. So we really, for me, really am, whether I'm not an official member of the club or an official Don's Trust spokesman, from my perspective, I would encourage all Don's Trust members listening, please vote. Get that 50% turnout in the first instance, but please vote twice. Please back the campaign. Vote yes, and get us back to Merton.
Just on them stated aims, Nick, that goes back to the Don's Trust was actually formed before AFC Wimbledon was.
Yeah.
So, that is one of the original aims of the Don's Trust.
Yes. Yeah, to get our football club back playing in our home borough and to get back into our hometown, that is incredible. So we'll talk a lot more about this, I'm sure, and obviously in a couple of weeks, hopefully we'll speak to some board members about it. Is there anything I've missed from either of you two that we should add, or are we happy to?
No, I would just say I think the promotional thing of get back, back in 2 ticks is an absolute genius of a slogan.
Yes, definitely.
I thought it was just for people like me who get a bit confused with where to put a tick, and make sure you put a couple in to make sure you pick the right one. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you jokes, Stu. It's not. Thankfully, it's not quite as complicated as adding someone to a Skype message group. But
yeah, but no, in all seriousness, it's a great slogan.
It is. It's brilliant.
As Paul said, we did bring this in to protect us. I think you have to protect it in a certain way for such an important vote, and it is an important vote. Probably one of the more important ones we've done for a long time. So, but the slogan's brilliant. And whoever thought it up, fair play. You can have another A star for that as well. A
seat in the stadium, named after them.
The 2 ticks thing.
Cool. Right. Thank you very much, guys. This reminds me of last week's, Stu. We had a quite intense little chat, and I think we've got very serious. So you know what I'm going to say? I think it's time to lighten the mood a little bit.
Right, here goes. Fun at Stu's expense time.
Well, actually, today we've got Paul as well. So it's time for our birthday game. I love this game. Okay, mainly because I'm the one not having to guess. Okay, so it's easy for me. But we can do Paul versus Stu today. Okay. If you're up for it, and see who is better at guessing the ages of famous people. And we can work out who's closest to the age. It's like Countdown, only without Rachel Riley, therefore making it considerably less entertaining. Apologies, Stu, I couldn't get any famous sports people though, but we do have a good mix of celebrities. Paul, do you want to go first?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. This week it was the birthday of TV presenter Kirsty Allsop. How old do you think she turned?
35.
35, okay. Stu?
TV presenters, see, I think they've got to be younger, haven't they? Because they sort of like got a bit of a sell-by date, haven't they?
Oh, my word.
Come on. If you go on news, they go after a couple of years when they get old, don't they?
Do you know
I reckon she's probably about 28, I reckon.
Oh, man, I've got Jermaine Greer, to listen to the show this week. And we've lost her, haven't we? Blimey. Okay, what did you say? How old? 25?
28.
28. Well, you're lower than Paul said 35, so Paul is closer. She's 44.
Oh.
Would you believe? So, not quite over the hill yet, Stu.
That's good to know.
Oh, my word.
She's probably a presenter on UK Gold or something like that.
Something like that. She does some sort of property show or something on Channel 4, I think, but I don't...
Mate, you didn't tell me that. If she's got property, you've got a bit of money, ain't you?
I don't watch Channel 4. That's a joke. So 1-0 to Paul. Well done. Right. Stu, you get to go first this time. Richard Gere.
Richard Gere?
Yeah, your favourite actor.
Oh, he's cracking. He's got to be 65, 66.
Which one are you going for?
66.
Okay. Paul?
I'll go 67, higher than what Stu says.
Oh, man. Stu, bang on the money. He is 66 years old. Can you believe it?
No, I can't really. That's why I said the age. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, true. To be fair, I can't believe you're right. But then again, you do like Richard Gere, don't you? You've got a bit of a thing for him.
Is he the one that's married to Catherine Zeta-Jones? That one?
No.
Oh.
Is that Michael Douglas?
Do you know what? There's certain times when you should quit when you're ahead, and that was a moment.
That was one. Yeah. Never mind. Right, Paul. Todd Carty of EastEnders and The Bill fame.
Grange Hill fame. Come on, get it right.
I'm not. Well,
Right. Okay. So
48. Stu?
You know what, if he's 48 and I feel seriously old, but I think you're about right. I think you're not far off it, Paul. I'll go 52.
No, give over. Have you bought the mirror today?
No.
He's 52. That's ridiculous. Oh, my word.
I would love to say I've cheated because it make me feel better, but no, I haven't.
Well, we know who to go to for our Richard Gere and Todd Carty Appreciation Group meeting.
That'd be there. We'll get a bonus point.
No. Next one, music legend Van Morrison.
can't believe you gone for that music legend and not the other one this week.
Who's the other one?
Natalie.
Who?
Natalie Imbruglia's birthday this week.
Imbruglia?
Oh, hold on. Who's asking the question?
All right. Well, I am still. But...
Well, I'm torn on that one. She's either...
he's just covering his own jokes as well.
She's either 39 or 40. She's 40 this year.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you can check, yeah.
She's looking good for 40. How about
we
Morrison?
bring our own people in now, so we just go, this person's this age, I'll win.
I'll give Paul a point, actually, just to annoy Stu. Right, 2-all. Somebody give me an age of Van Morrison, please. For the love of God.
Oh, God.
Go on, Paul, you go first.
Go on, Stu, you go first.
He looks old, doesn't he? But I don't know. I think he's always looked old, that person. 40... Oh, no, he's got more than that. 58.
Right, Paul?
I'll go 61.
Yeah, Paul's won it. 70. Bang on 70.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He's always looked old, doesn't he?
He's been around for a bit.
So have I lost? Have I lost even though I've got two?
No, we've got Reader one this week, haven't we?
Yeah, well, technically you're 2-all if I don't count Natalie and Brie, you're at 2-all. So this will be the decider. Mirror Reader, Daisy White from Abbey Wood in Greater London.
She's either going to be really young or almost retirement age. I'll say 32.
That is really young. Stu?
See, I think that Daisy... apologies for any Daisies that are listening. You know...
How many more?
I think they're older now. I think Daisy must be in 75.
Well, Paul's won that one by a landslide. She's 19, which is a great age. But, well done, Paul.
How did that kid get through school being called Daisy?
Right.
Well done, Paul. Well done.
Yeah, well done, Paul. Before we move on, Stu, have you got any more offensive comments you want to make about females or the age of women in general?
Daisy's just a weird name, isn't it? But all the Daisies in the world, I'm sure they're all nice people.
Right, moving on. Mansfield away. Any of us going to Mansfield this week?
Unfortunately not.
No. No, none of us.
No, my sister's got a 25th renewal thing going on this week. I did say to her never do anything on a Saturday during the football season, but she didn't listen to me. So, I'm not. Okay.
Predictions, Stu?
We don't do anything at Mansfield, to be fair. I think the last time we won there was 5-2 in 2010. See, I've done my research this week, can't you? I don't think we're going to get anything there. I'll go for a draw. I reckon 1 each.
Okay, Paul?
I'll go 2-1 to us.
Okay.
And probably lots of free kicks in our favour because they appear to be quite... pick up quite a few cards, it appears.
Yeah, physical.
Standard Mansfield team, then.
Finton Morrison might want to watch Mansfield instead of us if he wants to see a physical, direct team. I'll probably agree with Stu that I'll probably go for a draw. Another game in League 2, Stu, you're interested in?
Yeah, I've gone for Newport versus York this week.
Okay.
Newport, rock bottom. York, I think, are about 18th. I just think Newport is very important for them not to get caught adrift at the bottom. We all know their budget's not the greatest this year. So I think Newport, it's a big game for them at the bottom. And I think this year there's strong teams in there. So Newport needs to be winning that. And I think York are going to struggle this year as well. So it should be an interesting game, that.
Cool. Paul, did you have one?
I forgot to look at the other games, but looking just at sort of teams in general...
Yeah.
Cambridge, with their strikers, seem to be struggling to score goals, which is a bit of a surprise.
Yes.
And Luton are doing well, aren't they, Nick?
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because obviously my choice, I believe, this weekend is Cambridge versus Luton.
Is that who they're playing? So that's a 0-0 then?
Well, No. If Cambridge are struggling to score goals, they might want to be playing against Luton at the minute, who are conceding goals ridiculously and seem to concede a lot of goals in the 90th minute as well. I think every home game so far they've conceded a goal in injury time.
Good to see Tubbs scoring another goal from distance.
It was from distance, but I wouldn't necessarily say from my perspective it was good to see. But hopefully Luton might get a first win away at Cambridge on the weekend. We'll see. Right. Thank you, guys. Remember, if you're not going to Mansfield, you can listen to the live commentary via Radio WDON on Don's Player, which is still just £4.99 a month. So please have a look at that on the website, and you can get live commentary from Field Mill. But anyway... that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you very much for listening, and remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at 9YRS Podcast, and Facebook is facebook.com/9YRS Podcast. Now, if you do enjoy the show, I do ask you to spread the word. Our download figures skyrocketed last week, and we're in the region of about 200, 250 listeners a week, which is amazing, I think, considering we are on a budget of £0 and 0 pence. Please let people know that we're here every Thursday, and every episode we've done is available on YouTube and iTunes, and the MP3 download at 9yrs.podomatic.com. But for today, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, Stu and Paul, for joining me. It's been great to have you, Paul. And please join us, and Stu, I suppose. And please join us next week when we'll be talking to Clinton Morrison about the scandal of fake passports. We'll see you then.